Hello, hello, hello. Let me go ahead and get everything set up. All right, everything looks good. I'm just going to do a quick little presentation on this new game that I'm producing called Nestbound. It's going to be a turn-based tactics survival game. And we're just going to go over quickly what I have for the future, and then we're going to do a little coding showcase of like what I have set up so far. So essentially, we want tile-based combat with external resource management, as in like, you know, food, gold, kind of like in Civilization. But I'm going to have a lot less. I'm going to simplify the system and make it more combat-oriented. Kind of close to this game called Pokemon Conquest. That's one of the closer ones, and XCOM. Kind of that kind of combat system, but with a Civilization kind of overarching resource management system, but also with permanent character progression. So I'm thinking like, again, XCOM or Darkest Dungeon. Mostly Darkest Dungeon is what the character progression system is going to look like, because I don't want it to be super devastating when a character dies, but I also want it to be super common as well, where like things go wrong and you have to improvise and stuff like that. And I also want a variety of creatures. So there's like different environments where I find different creatures and even different religions among different little packs of creatures with different politics on like who likes who has certain relation with who. What's that? Okay. So, progress what I've made so far. I've made the world, I've made the tile movement system with the individual creature turns. So each creature has a turn. They can only move so far based on how fast they are on a certain amount of tiles, and then they can attack, and then that's it. So you have to rely on multiple creatures to do your kind of bidding. You can't just have one creature and do the rest of the game with one creature. The world's too big for that. I also made a combat system with different moves you can cycle through. I'm going to have everything start small. I'll explain why later, but I want to create a small amount of creatures for now, just to like play test everything and make sure everything's balanced, because I think the larger it gets, the harder it is to play test. So I'm going to keep that iteration part of it small for now, but I also have a plan to have viewers and things be able to make creatures, movesets, and even religions in the future. So it'll be a very involved process where I'll keep you guys updated and have you guys maybe even make some creatures with me. So, and it'll be an easy process. No coding required, nothing like that. Made a camera and map system. So the camera is able to follow the different creatures that you have, and a map system where whichever creature you have selected that you're trying to use, it'll show up on the overarching megatile map. Each megatile is going to be 25 tiles or so, and that can be built into different things, like different buildings. Don't have that implemented yet, which I'll go over soon. We have a different display GUI, graphics user interface, for those who aren't familiar with that, for the moves, so that you're able to see what kind of moveset you're using. And I also made an AI that controls the enemies during their turn. So anyone who isn't on your team is considered an enemy. They have different behaviors, but right now they're all set to aggressive. So I will make different behaviors in the future, but right now they're all just running towards you and trying to kill you. So let's showcase the game. Ignore all of this. This is just my current coding environment. And it may take a little while to start up just because it's been kind of just sitting here for a little bit. But yeah, I'm coding this through Unity. I'm making it all through this environment. I'm using Visual Studio to program it through, and I'm using C# as a coding language. But yeah, it may take a while. Usually it only takes like 3 seconds, but again, it's been sitting here for like 7 years, so. All right. Oops. Let's have this made full screen. I know that took forever, but I'm gonna not have it play focus. Come on. Oh my gosh, you were being slow. Sorry, y'all. Play, maximize. Play. There we go. Much better. Okay, so this is what the game looks like so far. In my opinion, it doesn't look that great right now because I'm not focusing on the graphics. I'm focusing on function over form. So I'm essentially creating the function before I create anything else. Here's an example of a creature. So this actually happens to be my creature. You can tell because the color of the tiles. So there are other creatures that are not my creatures, but it's such a big world that it might be a little hard to find them. But they are moving on their own. Your creatures are not, obviously, but you can cycle through. This creature, you see each one has a different movement range, and they also have different abilities. If you press the space bar to attack, it'll show you an ability, and you can use it in one of 4 directions. And it'll show you which tiles it affects, what type of damage it does, and how much damage it does. And you can also cycle through. So this one, he has 2 moves, Shard Smash and Shard Artillery. One of them, you'll notice, has a much longer range, but it only affects this tile. It does not affect any other tiles. So it's a more specific use. It's longer range. This one's shorter range. And these different creatures have different moves and different move sets. So this one will blind enemies. It's a bright flash. Or this one also blinds, but a little bit less. Is in a shorter range. But this one, if we stop attacking, can also move farther. So you have to take that into account of the balance and stuff like that. So it can move, and it can attack, and then you'll notice its turn is over. It can't do anything else. So, oops, it is stuck there. Okay, so that's a bug I gotta fix. To where you'll notice that if I attack, the bug is that it doesn't get rid of the HUD. So that could be kind of annoying. It's annoying me right now. So, but yeah, you can also end the turn manually without attacking. And right now, you'll notice it came back. That's because it already calculated all the enemies' turns. So you can only cycle through your players right now. You can't really cycle through the enemies, and that's because it's intended that way. There's going to be a fog of war that I'm about to implement, and there's a bunch of other things I'll implement. The last thing I'll show you guys is the map. So this is the map system. The selected person, or creature, I guess, is the one that you're going to be on. And each of these maps represents 25 different individual, 25 by 25 grid of tiles. So there's 125 by 125 tiles in this world for right now. I can make it as big as I want, but for right now I'm only making it so there's 5 sets of, or a 25 mega tile grid. So 5 by 5 mega tiles. And if I click on this tile, it'll take me to the same tile that he's on. If I click on this tile, you'll notice he's not on this tile. And if I now have this guy selected and press the map key, now it shows that he's here. So it shows you the general relative location. And eventually these will have different building types. And if there's a fog of war, you won't know who's on these tiles and stuff like that. So, yeah. That's about it for what I have implemented. Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, good to see you. I'll definitely catch you next time. So that's what this is what I've been doing. And now it's time to talk about what we got next. So, the buildings. I briefly mentioned this. The home nest is going to be where a lot of the stuff happens that you'll have to return to a lot. It'll also be religious structures and like farms and like mines and stuff like that. That they'll all have their own use for different resources. Religious structures, once you have a religion that you practice, it'll give you a buff and a debuff. So like, let's say you are you start following a very, like, quote unquote, based on the nature of religion is based on the nature of the buffs and debuffs. So one might make you like only eat meat or something like that, but which is a debuff. Like you have to eat other creatures. You can't just eat like different foods, which completely changes how you play. But it might give you like an attack boost to help you take down other creatures. Or maybe it's like a more pacifist religion where it incentivizes you to be able to grow more food, but it also takes down some of your attack stats or something like that, which would be the complete opposite of the carnivore religion. Stuff like that. I would also make move pools and move slots for character progression. So you notice that I made different moves for each character. I eventually want to make it so that there's like a rarity to move pulls, and each pool has a different chance to pull a certain move. So like a rare move might take up 2 move slots or even 3 move slots, but it would be like a really good move, and it would make up for the amount of slots it takes up. So less variety, but more power in that move, and that move would obviously be harder to acquire because it'd be rarer. And I would also make creature stats and stat trees. I already have some stats set up, but I only have basically attack, vitality, and speed. I don't have intelligence yet, because intelligence is going to drive how many move slots you can have, what rarity of moves you can receive, stuff like that. Strength is just attack power, vitality is just HP, and speed is just how many moves you can make in the same turn. External resources. Food, gold, combat equipment, and other things that I haven't thought of yet that will balance out the game. Food is pretty simple. If you don't have enough food for your colony, people start dying. Gold can help you buy things that help you in different ways, from merchants and stuff like that, and trade. So let's say you could maybe even buy food. You could buy combat equipment, that stuff that like gives you just stat boosts or something like that. Maybe you can buy things like spend money on things like fortifying certain resources or something like that to make them harder to capture. Stuff like that. And combat equipment I already talked about. So actions for the mega tiles. I do want to make each mega tile its own little building / structure thing. So you can capture them, you can fortify them, you can turn them into different resources, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff to do with the mega tiles. That's the near future. That's what I'm looking for creating for the upcoming updates. That'll hopefully be every week. And I'm going to try to get a more set schedule for each of these updates. Overall, we do have a Kickstarter goal. With the donation goals, they're probably going to be pretty small because I do want a lot of community involvement here. I want to allow the people supporting to be able to give me ideas for their creatures, and I'll set up a system to help them easily do that so they don't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. I'll be doing most of that on the back end. And different tiers of donations might be able to create moves in other even religions too, and I'll just be in constant communication with all of my supporters to make sure that they feel their needs are being heard about like what kind of community involvement they want from me. But I would like to allow a lot of community involvement as an incentive to donate, so that way it's kind of fun for both of us. It's not just like you're sending money to me and I'm making the game, you know? It's like, no, it's like you actually get something from donating a pretty small amount. In return, you get to actually see something that you wanted in the game. So that's my big goal for this project. To be super community oriented, and to be fun. A lot of this is for fun. It's not really to make money. I think the Kickstarter goal is just so I don't have to make a creature for every single person that comes across and is like, can I have this? You know, there's still some goal there, but mostly for fun. I just love making video games. I've had this passion project on my mind for a while, and I've been wanting to create this. So I will keep you guys updated in the next week or so on how progress is going. I'm going to try to get one of those future goals started, and we'll see how this sprint goes. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. That was about... Here, how do I get out of this? Oh, there we go. That was about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to start uploading this to my different platforms, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated.